Alright, welcome to the lunchtime video. This is going to be a little bit of um, a abbreviated video. Oh, because I've got some lunch on the way, and I've got a strict meeting right at 1. So this is going to be a bit abbreviated. Actually, looks like my lunch might be on the door right now. So I'll just finish up this intro. It's going to be a little bit of a shorter video. Hopefully I can do 30 minutes. The test date is really approaching, so I'm going to try to do, at the very least, more videos on the weekend, although I am working on that course. But, oops, I got a call. Hello? Alright, so yep, we're just going to be here soon, so I'm going to need to take a bit of a longer break in a few minutes. What I was going to say is that I am going to be taking this test sooner than I can possibly imagine. So I need to be working on this test harder than I am. Really, all I've been doing is about 45 minutes Monday through Friday during the lunch hour. So that's really not going to be enough. So I'm hoping to ramp it up and maybe do one right after work. Maybe I could do one before work if I can wake up at 7, something like that. Of course, there are limited hours in the day. There's limited fuel in the tank of my mind. So there's a lot that can go wrong. This is not a test that a lot of people pass. The statistical likelihood of me actually passing this test is very, very low. But I think if I can do those twice daily study sessions, Monday through Friday, and whatever I can on the weekend, my chances will be a lot higher. And there is a lot of good news, and that is that I am more than halfway done with my study for the exam. And in fact, if I can discount QoS and rely on my professional experience for that, I've really only got 2 more topics left. Even better news, VPNs I actually already did a video series on. Now, when I started the video series, I was already halfway through the topic, so it's going to be a little bit incomplete, but hopefully I'll be able to move through this pretty fast. And I did it a little bit out of order at the request of a commenter. I did EVPN months ago to make sure that the commenter got some help with that subject. Okay, so our next topic is going to be carrier of carrier VPNs. So I'll create my notes, and then I'll need to take a break as soon as my order is here. It's going to be here in a little bit. Okay, and I'll need to make a new playlist for this one as well. Okay, so we've got a new subtopic name. Okay, and then we've got a new name for the main topic. It's carrier of carrier VPNs. So this should all be pretty familiar for me, hopefully pretty quick. Let's take care of the tags. So going to be a little bit different. MPLS might be a part of it, but I think a better tag will be VPNs, and then if another tag is needed, I will add it. Okay, I don't see the delivery driver yet. She didn't have my apartment number, so she might be. Okay, so I'm kind of tempted to check now, but I don't see. I don't know if it would have gotten here yet or not. And typically, I don't know if this driver's going to do it, but a lot of times I haven't received a final email once it's dropped off. But let's see here. So I will pull up my lab. I'll plug in my phone to 2 missed calls. Okay, perfect. It was dropped off now. Here's your further this folder. Okay, so yep, I'm gonna pause the video. I'll be back in like 10 minutes. Right.
Okay, so I'm back. It looks like there's an issue with my camera. Hopefully I can get that resolved. It looks like I am recording. Okay, so yeah, it looks like my camera is not on anymore. Usually it's got a blue light. It doesn't have a blue light now. Yeah, still no blue light. So let's see if I can do. Yeah, so I guess my camera is gonna be broken. I don't think that's gonna be a big deal. So I'm just gonna continue on. I think it's more important to just get through all the topics than it is to see a different shop besides my own ass. So enjoy that, and I will continue to just push through this. That might even improve the video for some people. I'm just kidding, of course. Okay, so let's see here. So projects, yep, JNCIE-SP. Oh, new version, so definitely don't want to get that new version because it will require a lot of work. So, okay, so carrier of carrier, let's start the same way as with every other topic. So the only problem with not having the camera running is the camera was also serving as my microphone, and I think I got a little bit better audio quality from it. But I think audio still records from my laptop, it's just not as good. Alright, so let's do help apropos, pipe match, topic, pipe match, and it's going to be okay, well, oh, I see, carrier. Here we go. So we've got a bunch of stuff for carrier of carrier VPNs. So we'll just start with the main one. Okay, so interprovider and carrier of carrier VPNs. All interprovider and carrier of carrier VPNs share the following characteristics. Each interprovider or carrier of carrier VPN customer must distinguish between internal and external customer routes. Internal customer routes must be maintained by the VPN service provider in its PE routers. External customer routes are carried only by the customer's routing platforms, not by the VPN service provider's routing platforms. The key difference between interprovider and carriers VPNs is whether the customer sites belong to the same AS or to separate ASs. Interprovider VPNs, the customer sites belong to different ASs. You need to configure eBGP to exchange the customer's external routes. Carrier of carriers VPNs, the customer sites belong to the same AS. You need to configure IBGP to exchange the customer's external routes. In general, each service provider in a VPN hierarchy is required to contain its own internal routes in its P routers and the internal routes of its customers in its PE routers. By recursively applying this rule, it is possible to create a hierarchy of VPNs. The following are definitions of the types of PE routers specific to interprovider and carrier of carrier VPNs. The AS border router is located at the AS border and handles traffic leaving and entering the AS. The end PE router is the PE router in the customer VPN. It is connected to the CE router at the end customer site. Alright, so let's see what else they have. So let's go with standard VPN as well. The traditional distinction between internal routes and external routes also applies to VPN routing architectures. As shown in routers in a VPN, the provider P routers maintain only the service provider's internal routes to provider edge PE routers and other P routers. They do not maintain VPN routes. PE routers are the only devices in the provider network that are required to maintain external routes. The BGP next hop connects the external routes to the internal routes in traditional VPNs. The BGP next hop is advertised with each external route in BGP advertisements. The route to the BGP next hop is an internal route that is advertised by the IGP. MPLS provides packet forwarding from the ingress PE router to the BGP next hop egress PE router. It's all kind of going over my head, but it's just a flood of information. Whatever sticks hopefully gets me a lot of points on the test. Okay, so it looks like we've got the RFC for carrier VPNs. So I think this one here is going to be for carrier. This one's on the top is for interprovider. So that's a good place to start for the Google searches. I always like to do the Google searches after trying to use the help documentation because I get the help documentation on test day. I don't get Google searches. Okay, so I believe this is carrier of carrier. Yeah, and this is not, so interprovider doesn't show up in here. So this is going to be an important one to include in the notes. Okay, but let's just use that for reference, and for a more specific exercise, we'll do another Google search. Juniper carrier VPN, there we go, it auto completes. So we got understanding, we've got the overview, understanding. Here we go. So we've got a example architecture here. Let's see if we can get an actual example to configure. So I mean, this kind of looks like it would be one. Yeah, configuring the carrier of carriers, VPNs, service customer CE router. Oops. Here we go. So the example has just got a different format than usual. It doesn't have EXAMPLE colon. It just has the word example buried within the title. But I think this is going to be a good one. It's kind of big, which is not good for time management, but it appears to have all of the necessary information. Okay, and it looks like the configuration is pretty skimpy for all but the PE routers. So I think we're going to go with this. So I've only got a few minutes left, but that should be enough to get my lab ready. So right now I've got 6 routers. This is going to be requiring 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 routers. That might be a bit much for my lab, but we'll try it. So we're going to need double the amount of routers. So, yep, so 3 times 4 is 12, so if we build a square, we'll get 12. Now, it will max out my CPU, but the good news is it's just the virtual CPU allocated to the virtual machine. So hopefully it runs nice and smoothly on the hardware. The other thing I can do is set up a management network and use a network automation tool to speed this up. Alright, so yeah, everything seems to be going good now, so I'm going to go through all 6 of these routers and blank them out. So it looks like the example doesn't really do a lot of hand holding. IP addresses, all that sort of thing, I'm going to need to come up with my own scheme. Looks like they do give some addresses, but they don't give addresses for the interfaces specifically, so it might be easiest if I use different addresses entirely, following a scheme that I come up with, as opposed to trying to decrypt the scheme they have here. What is this? Understanding. Okay, understanding. Yeah, we just want to do this example and then move on. But unfortunately, it is a very complicated example. Okay, so add all this back in, commit, and then move on. Yep, took a long time to commit. That's because all the other routers are still booting up. Hopefully there's no issues though. I did forget to cable the control plane to the forwarding plane, so before moving on to router 3, I think I'm going to do that. You can see everything's kind of laggy and bad because those other ones are booting up, hogging a lot of resources on my virtual machine. Okay, so now instead of moving on to router 3, I'm going to cable these. Alright, so moving on to router 3. Okay, router 4 is next.
Alright, well, I forgot to pause it when I get up. Got up like that, but I needed some water, and I had the other, oh, the camera's not even working anyway, so. Okay, so everything is perfect. Yep, that's blanked out. I will need to license all these other ones. I doubt they are up yet though, because it's going to take a while for them to boot up. Yeah, with the CPU being taxed so much. In the meantime though, I can rearrange and rename these routers. Oops, something happened here. There we go. Oops, something happened again. Yeah, sometimes when they're all booting up like that, icon rearranging has issues. So we can see it looks like it's losing contact with the server. And I think that's just because it's under so much load right now. I'll view the server summary. And I'm still having that bug, so I'll just take a screenshot and then show the results. Yeah, and you can see it's hanging right around 100%. So definitely gonna take a while for certain things. Okay, so that looks closer. Let's change all the host names as well. I've got time for that. So this is the customer access router, or customer edge is what the E stands for. There's no A for access, there's E for edge. Oops, and it looks like my changes, here we go, perfect. Yep, it's just everything's running at the max, so sometimes things lag out. Here's PE. Now, remember, this is a carrier of carriers topology, so we're going to have multiple CE, and we're going to have two different kinds of CE routers, customer edge. We'll have two different customer edges. One of the customers is going to be the entity ordering the service. The end service, like a E-line, a ELAN, a FIA service. Well, probably not an FIA service, but no. So whatever service the customer is ordering will be delivered
will be purchased and paid for by the entity that owns this CE here, but this CE here is owned by a internet service provider, and this topology is showing this internet service provider buying from another internet service provider a transparent outsourced backbone. So if I've own service provider A here, and I don't have enough equipment to get to my second site here for my service provider A, I can order a service from service provider B, and they can transport my traffic over to my other site, saving me the costs of having to do all the construction, ordering all the equipment, that sort of stuff to expand my network. I can just piggyback on a network that already exists, but that's going to require this special carrier of carriers configuration. What happened to I? Oh, there's I. Okay. Okay, so everything looks good, a little bit crooked, but nothing wrong with that. I'm going to cable them up now in the 5 minutes I have. I do need to do a hard stop at some point, but we'll just do 0 to 1 for everything. Yep, 0 to 1. 0 to 1. Okay, everything is all cabled up and ready to go for the next video, where I'll be adding the configuration. Might need to go on the 3 videos for the verification steps as well, but hopefully I can move through this quickly to get through all of the topics. Alright, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.